Next article from The Guardian. The UK social media ban likely to cause 1.3 billion pounds drop in digital ad spend. So I wanted to actually find an article about this because I thought it was fascinating. In case anyone hasn't been paying attention, the UK has banned social media usage, I believe, for children under the age of 16 and under. So all I know is, I mean, it's great. I personally think it's really good. I really think this is a good thing. I really do. I've actually seen it. I mean, I'm a dad. I have kids. I have nieces and nephews. I mean, and so and I've actually read a lot of studies and I've seen it where kids that are like have that. And it's one thing to have the screen because there's no way you can shield someone from a screen. You just can't, right? But it's another thing to be actively engaged in a private social media account on any platform when you're 13, when you're 12, when the brain's really still developing, when you're trying to figure out who you are as a kid, let alone having to now deal with a whole, social media element of it, and so, but I've actually seen it, kids that don't use it tend to be, a lot better in a lot of cognitive ways later on versus, the kids that do, quite frankly. And I just think it's great how the UK is the first country to actually do it. Now, I don't understand how they're going to do it. I mean, I don't know. Like, are they going to go to, like the Apple Store and Google Play Store and say, "Hey, I need you to block verification"? Like, it's just an immense amount of work. Do they do it there? Do they also do it at the platforms, as like through Meta, through TikTok, right? And then go that angle where you have to upload an ID of some sort. Like, I mean, I think the sentiment is great, but it's going to be really hard to implement, especially now where it's like years after the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. Whereas what they should do now, honestly, is do the same type of thing for AI. Now's when you do it, when it's a starting newer entity channel. But to do it, where I mean, how old is social media now? Social media, maybe 20 years old. So you literally have a generation of kids that don't know what it's like to not have Facebook or Instagram or YouTube exist. Seriously. And so with AI, you could kind of catch it. So I don't know. I see a lot of things on this one. I mean, I think it's great that they're doing it. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's also the $1.3 billion in drop in digital advertising spend. That angle is fascinating because I can't anticipate the social platforms being real happy about that. And how much money and brand, think about it, like, they'll use that data of young kids to instill brand identity kind of messaging for brands early. Then that brand messaging will stay with that kid through their teenage years and the young adult years and being an adult and beyond. Seriously. I mean, I think we all have brands that we love because, like, that we loved as a kid, but now it's different because now social media is implementing that. So anyway, there's a lot to unpack on this, just this one article. So what do you guys think on this one? I know I could just keep talking about this one. It's a big one.
I'll give a different perspective. So I lived in Europe. I lived in Germany for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all along the time that social media, it was for 3 years of it, it was in the 2010s. And I could tell by watching the media uh, all over Europe, including the UK, that there was an inherent distrust with the implications of social media and the internet in general on culture and society. And this type of thing has been in the news for a decade or more in Europe. So I find it interesting that the UK finally said, let's do this social media ban for certain age groups for children. And it'll be interesting to see if they can actually enforce it. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. I do know that it has achieved cross party support. So I know
Mm-hmm.
that Starmer stepped down
Right.
today.
Yes.
That and he's the one that put this policy into effect, but it's actually a very popular policy that has a lot of support to it. So it'll be
Yep.
interesting to see how this pans out for them.
Yeah. Yeah. John, what do you think?
I think the idea is in the right place. I just I know that the way that it's gonna be done through verification is going to completely like strip you of any online anonymity or privacy, right? Because even already the writing was on the wall that this was going to happen, and YouTube has already implemented, they're using AI to sort of try and figure out who might be an underaged user, and if you
Hmm.
are, they force you to put an ID in, right, already. So even people who are in their 30s and their 40s or even older, whatever, might get flagged somehow by the AI, and now they have to give up their their anonymity. They have to give their license or however
Right.
they whatever identification they have to these platforms. And maybe okay, if it's YouTube and Google, you might feel safe giving them your ID or they may already have it. But then what happens if you have to give it to Snapchat, right? Like Snapchat
Right.
is a
Right.
different entity completely. Do you
Yep.
know, are they trustworthy? Is whatever, right?
I know.
It adds a layer
I know.
of problems
Yeah.
and friction.
That's a whole nother. I mean, John, that's a good angle because that's a whole nother can of worms that gets
Yeah.
opened up. But I also feel like though that most people that use social media really don't care
Mhm.
because why I say that is you wouldn't be posting every minute of every part of
Yeah.
your life if you in your location and who you're with and when and why and your political views and all this stuff. You wouldn't do any of that if you cared about privacy.
Yeah.
That's my point on that. Anyway, we keep talking about this. Is a great topic, but we have other things we need to get to today. So, but this is a really good one. I think maybe we do a webinar about this topic. Honestly, and
Yeah.
maybe we do something where we talk about it, and because this is a really it's a big thing, and I see a direct parallel, honestly, right now to AI for early days of social media, early days of AI. And it's kind of like, okay, if they're going to want to add some sort of guardrails for AI, this is the time to do it. Not 5 years or 10 years from now when AI might actually be smarter than all of us. Who knows? We don't know that.